Hey everybody, the question for today is 55 years old too old to do an Ironman? Well, let me tell you, no. The answer is no. But you have to take a bit of a master's approach to doing this. I'm 58 years old. I'm doing a half Ironman again this summer. I still think I have one or two full Ironmans left in me, and I've put that out as a challenge to the community here on YouTube. When I get to 100,000 subscribers, I will sign up and do another full Ironman, and I'm going to take everybody on this channel along on that journey because, I think we all need positive influences in our life to see what is possible. I was an average guy at 40, an average couch potato who was about 50 to 60 pounds overweight, and I corrected my life just by embracing the idea of running and then embracing the idea of doing a little bit more, which became swim, bike, run. And what took me to a half Ironman took me to the full Ironman. And 18 years later, here I am still doing it with a smile on my face and very happy to be talking about it and inspiring other people to get involved in our sport. So again, the question today is 55 too old? The answer to that question is no, clearly. But I will say this, as a master's athlete, there are certain considerations that you have to consider when doing an Ironman. One of them is your nutritional needs are going to be different than they were when you were, say, 25 years old and had higher metabolism. Your rest and recovery are going to be super important because your body's gone through 55 plus years of living and abuse. And now you have to say, if you're going to say, I'm going to be an athlete now, that's great, that's fine. But now you've got to figure out a way to do that sustainably and not get injured. That is the key. For me, what I've learned is that I'm hyper aware of my body. I'm hyper aware of how it should feel when it feels healthy. And I'm hyper aware when I start to feel things that don't feel right. Let me give you an example. When I got involved in triathlon in the first place, after I had that chance meeting with that other Ironman triathlete, I've shared the story many times, I was at the point after running for 3 years that I was starting to develop some aches and pains in my lower back. And having good body awareness does one of two things. It either indicates to you that you need to change and adapt what you're doing so that you don't feel that pain, but that's not necessarily a good thing because if you change and adapt the way that you're striding because you have a lower back issue, now maybe you're adding something into your run that isn't good. And that could be a problem. So having good body awareness is going to allow you to be able to be proactive in pain management and recovery so that maybe what you need is some efficiencies in your physicality, your balance. Because when you think about it, when you're doing triathlon, right, you're swimming forward, you're cycling forward, you're running forward. What we're not doing as triathletes is think about playing basketball where you're moving side to side all the time, right? Or you're sprinting forwards, backwards. Here's a basketball player. The point is, a basketball player probably has a more well-balanced athletic body than a triathlete because that well-balanced, that moving side to side helps the stabilization and mobilization of all of your joints and your muscles. When all you're doing is moving forward, if you can imagine the ligaments around your knee, for example, right? If all you're ever doing is stretching them this way, they're going to be really good this way, but as soon as you've got to go this way, right, all of a sudden they're weak. Same thing happens with your back, it happens with your hips, it happens with your legs, your knees, your feet. Part of what we do as triathletes, especially as we get older, is we try to manage those supporting systems so that we don't get injury. I think the easiest way to answer the question is 55 too old to do a triathlon. The question is more, are you prepared to put in the work in the gym to get stronger? And when I say get stronger, I don't mean bulking up. What I mean is get your body stronger so that you can move side to side, forward to backwards, and do that in a very agile way so that you're very stable. The one thing that I used to talk to when I was a spin bike instructor, I used to tell a lot of the students that I had in my classes that when we were doing sprints, what we were developing were our quick twitch reflex muscles. Why was that important? It wasn't important so that you could go out and ride your bike and sprint all of a sudden. It was really important as you grow older because if you've ever experienced catching your toe on the sidewalk or on an uneven piece of ground, a tree stump, maybe you were going for a hike, and you caught yourself tripping and you were able to recover quickly and not fall down and not hurt yourself. That's what quick twitch reflex muscles do for you, is they allow you to sort of recover from a stumble and not get hurt in the process. So for me, the whole concept of doing things as a master's athlete now, it doesn't mean I'm the old dark gray guy on the course who's got to get around with a wheelchair. It means that I've got to be a smarter athlete. If I want to still feel like I'm 25 years old, if I still want to play with the 25-year-olds out on this race course, I need to adapt my body in a way that's not going to allow it to get injured, or at least reduce the risk of injury. So I think a lot about stretching. I think a lot about lateral movements. You can take a rubber band, a stretch band, put it around any piece of furniture that's got a leg on it, or a piece of equipment that's got a leg on it, where you can hook that stretch band in, and you can start doing stretches. Now you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm literally stretching my leg, up in the air. I'll do the other one. I do the other one, but I kick the wall. You get the idea. I'm stretching, and as I stretch, I'm now stretching and exercising and training my body to be moving laterally as opposed to forward and back. That stabilizes my muscle groups. So even just thinking that I need to do that, I'm keeping myself healthy as I grow older. So to me, I've always said that the Ironman is the fountain of youth, because it forces me to think about, if I want to continue to be athletic, if I want to continue to have that physicality, if I want to continue to be physically fit so that I can enjoy youthful activities for the rest of my life, then I have to train with purpose. And Craig Alexander, who I did an interview with, I'm not sure if you've seen that interview, he's a 3-time Ironman world champion. He once said that exercise without purpose has no purpose. Now, that's a very, very Ironman tunnel vision way of thinking, but there's a point behind that. And the point is, if you're just going to follow somebody else's training routine because you're bored and you need that sort of stimulation, you might lead yourself to get injured one day. But if you train with purpose and you think, okay, this is the life that I want to lead, and every now and then I might do an Ironman, every now and then I might do a 10K run. I want to be ready to go at a moment's notice and have the physicality to do that. And that's where I am right now. That's what the Ironman has done for me. It has brought me to a point in my life where at 58 years old, again, I feel like I'm 25, I can, at the spur of a moment, go off and participate in a pop-up event and think nothing of it. And I'll give you an example. I was traveling a couple of years ago. We were in Portugal on the island of Madeira. And we were with our good friends, Eric and Kelly. We were traveling the island. They were celebrating, it was September, so they were celebrating the harvest, and there were some vineyards on the island. And if you've ever been to the island of Madeira, it's a very volcanic island. And we were sort of maybe 1,000 feet up along the side of a mountain in this little community. And it was about 5 o'clock at night. And there was a festival going on. And I didn't know that there was a 5K run that was literally about to start. And when I say that, within an hour. So I went and got a couple of beers for Eric and I, and the girls wanted a glass of wine. And so we got our beers and our glass of wine, and we sat down at this table, impromptu table. They had shut down the roads. And again, we're on the side of a mountain. Just the view is spectacular. Ocean views everywhere you look. And as we're sitting there, I'm starting to sip my beer, and I'm recognizing there are people walking around with racing bibs on. And I'm like, what's going on here? And as more and more people walked by, me being me, I just reached out and said, hey, is there a race going on? And they said, yeah, there's a 5K race about to happen. And I'm like, well, where's that happening? And they said, right here. I said, where's the registration desk? And they said, it's right over there. So I went over and I talked to the people. Literally, this was a 5K race that was running along the side of the mountain. So you can imagine it's a volcanic island, and the rock faces sort of project up from the ocean. And about halfway up, there's this little town, and they had this road that kind of followed the mountain. It was flat, but it was 1,000 feet up in the air. And I looked at my buddy Eric, and I says, you want to do it with me? And Eric kind of looked at me and smiled and went, yeah, man, no. And I'm like, well, look, I got a bathing suit in the car. I'm going to throw my t-shirt off, throw this dress shirt off, and throw that t-shirt on, throw my bathing suit on. I'm going to do this race. And they're all looking at me like, what? I said, yeah, why not? I mean, why not? And so I ended up I handed Eric my beer and says, here, have another beer. Went to the car, put my bathing suit on, and off I went. I registered for I think it cost me 10 euros to enter the race. And then because I had a timing chip, they gave me 5 euros back when I gave them the time, when I handed my timing chip back to them. So the whole thing actually cost me 5 euros. But I remember being very, very in the moment in that 5 kilometer race. And I was speaking English. Most people weren't, because it was not an English speaking community. But I'm laughing and I'm talking to the other athletes, and they're looking at me like, where did you come from? You're running in a bathing suit, and you don't look like somebody who should be here running in this race, but you also do look like a runner. So they were trying to figure me out. And the guy who I actually asked about the race, who had passed us in the very beginning, turns out he was the guy who won the race, and he was quite the athlete. And it was an out and back, so we ran along the island, the road along the side of the mountain to one direction, turned around and came back. So 2.5 out, 2.5 back. And as he was coming back, he's looking at me and he just starts laughing. Now he's literally winning the race. But we made eye contact and he looked at me because I had my change of clothes in my bathing suit. He didn't think I was serious, and he just got a big laugh because he saw me running. And you know what? It's just, that's the opportunity. And I remember running, I guess we must have been going west because the sun was setting. And yeah, it was just one of those surreal moments. My dad had passed away just a couple of years earlier, and I remember thinking a lot about my dad on that run, thinking, man, if he could see me now, how cool would that be? So anyway, just a short little story about, is 55 too old to do an Ironman? Absolutely not. There's guys doing the Ironman who are in their 80s, and I think Lou Hollander was the record holder. There's a Japanese fellow now who's the new record holder, and I think he was trying to do one at 91. So yeah, absolutely. Age is just a number. There have been some female athletes, the Flying Nun, who did it in, I think, her 86th year. So, you keep investing in your body. It keeps paying off for you. And there's definitely an age group for every person who wants to get involved in this. So again, hopefully that answered the question. 55 is not too old to be an Ironman or to do an Ironman or to train for an Ironman. But you have to take that mental approach of, I'm an age group athlete now. I've got to prepare myself a little bit differently because my body may not respond the same ways it did when I was 25. So if that made sense, hopefully you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions for me and you're concerned or curious about doing an Ironman or even getting involved in the sport of triathlon, leave a question below. I'm here to answer those questions. And then again, if you haven't subscribed already, we would love to have you subscribe to the channel. I've openly made it known that if I get to 100,000 subscribers, I will sign up for another full Ironman. Right now, I'm signed up for a 70.3 this year, which is a half Ironman race. But I know how daunting and hard that Ironman is. And I need a good reason to do it. And a good reason would be to have 100,000 people come along and experience that with me. I think that'd be pretty cool. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope that answered your question today. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video where we're going to be talking about, do you lose weight training for an Ironman? That's kind of a silly question, but I will answer it either here or here in that video. Thanks and bye for now.